Hey everyone, this is Chris, and you're listening to slash watching One Cross Radio, and today we are Gened? Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Today we are joined by nobody, except for a very tired Chris, who did not get a lot of sleep last night, and said Gened instead of joined. And today we are talking about a couple different things. So, it's been a while since I've done the solo, vlog, vlogcast. I don't know what you call video podcasts, and solo audio podcast. The last episode we had was with the always awesome Steve, and we were looking at Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel was what Captain Marvel was. But today just wanted to talk about a couple different things. So the first being is our new schedule. And dear listener slash viewer, or I guess more so dear viewer than listener, because listeners you can't see. But dear viewers, if you see me looking down to the right or whatever, it's because all my notes are on my phone so I can stay on track and try not to ramble too much. Because I do that, and it's almost inescapable. But it will happen, but I've got notes to try to stay on track. So the first thing I wanted to mention is our new schedule. What I'm going to be aiming for is about 2 episodes a month. I've recently up to full-time hours at my job, and it is wonderful. But like I said when this first happened, it takes up a lot of the time. And then I also do have another job on the side, which is wonderful. In no way complaining. Praise God. Thank you for these hours. It's just a lot of the time that I used to be able to schedule for stuff is now kind of away. And other friends and certain guests who are frequent guests are busy or are having children soon. So we're going to be aiming for twice a month. And what's kind of been interesting is as we've been slowing down, I'm seeing that we're growing. The audio on the podcast, I'm looking at Podbean. I check the website, the page every couple days, and the downloads are still growing even as there's less activity, which is interesting to me. It's kind of awesome. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and I'll be trying to get to you new content every 2 weeks. Also want to give a particular special shout out and thank you to Redeemed Otaku, who I subtly shouted out, just didn't tag them in it, a couple weeks ago when I did the Let's Talk About Godzilla podcast. They did a page share, which is awesome. When I shout people out, I'm in no way expecting a return shout out. It's just because I like them. I like what they do. I believe in what they're doing. I support them, and I enjoy it. So I'm always going to shout out people's stuff, like Cardboard Koinonia. Y'all are awesome. And Hector Miri's Faith and Fandom, and Love Thy Nerd, and all these things. I love these podcasts, these resources, these ministries, these people, some of whom I know much better than others. I love what they do, so I'm not shouting out to get recognition or get shouted out back, but Redeemed Otaku did. So thank you so much for that. So dear listener, as I said in the Godzilla podcast, you should really check them out. I listened to them on 2 places. You can probably find them at a couple more, but if iTunes is the easiest place, but if you don't have iTunes or you just don't want to, you can check them out at redeemedotaku.lisbon.com. Great podcast. Lot of infectious laughter. They're very fun, but they look at things anime from a Christian perspective, and they dive deep into it, which is awesome, deeper than I do, which is really, really cool. So check them out. Thank you guys for the shout out. So the other thing I kind of wanted, before I get to that, viewer, you'll notice that I'm rocking a awesome Bucky Barnes Captain America outfit. It is a hoodie that I got from HeroWares.com. Not a sponsor, just love their products. I also got a great, I almost said Ben Riley, but great Kane Parker Scarlet Spider hoodie. Man, there's so many great hoodies on there and shirts that I would not have any money, so I gotta pace myself, like with comics and stuff. So if you're looking for some good wearable merch, check out HeroWares.com. Again, not a sponsor, although HeroWares, if you're listening and you'd like to be, let's chat. Let's work something out. That'd be great. So one of the main things I wanted to talk about is around the time Captain Marvel came out, things kind of came to a head. It seems that whenever there's a big... Sorry, I thought Luna was coming in, and she might be. Yeah, it's weird. The door's opening. Just random noise. Oh, yes, there is a puppy. Hi, Loons. Sorry, listener and viewer. Whenever there's a big female-led superhero movie, or even female-led movie, there always seems to be this headache that comes with it. That's through no fault of the movies themselves. It's either through the studios and the media pushing something, or people overreacting to something that's not actually being pushed. With Captain Marvel, Brie Larson just said, hey, it'd be great to have more diversity with reviews, with movie reviewers, as the majority of them are male, the majority of them are white male. And yeah, sure, you could get into the demographics of people and all that, but we're not going to do that. In and of itself, that statement is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Having more female reviewers is great. Having more reviewers of color is great. Having more reviewers of insert any demographic. There's nothing wrong with that. Because certain stories are going to resonate with other people more than they will other groups of people. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. So, but people took that as, oh, she's against white dudes. So the internet, as it does, lost its collective mind. Or let me rephrase that. The popular phrase is a vocal minority, which is accurate, just a very loud, annoying vocal minority, lost its mind and proceeded to review bomb Captain Marvel, which was dumb, before the flick even came out. Now, I know some people were like, oh, they did this with Ghostbusters. In the case of Ghostbusters, a lot of people were saying, like, no, this looks bad. I have a cousin, Pete, who designed our logo. Great guy. He's got a website. I'm going to attach it in the description. Go check him out. I was talking to him around the time of Ghostbusters, and he was like, whenever I'm mentioning I don't like it, people jump to the, oh, you're sexist. And for him, he's like, it's not because I'm sexist. I love women. I love female-led things. It's because it looks like crap. Now, I haven't seen Ghostbusters. It looked bad. Not through the fault of the cast. It just looked like a bad movie. And for the most part, everything I've heard about it is Ghostbusters bad. Ocean's 8 had, unfortunately, a similar experience where I dug the flick. Women make up 50% of the population. So I don't see anything wrong with there being more women-led movies. Ocean's 8 was a fun heist movie. Its selling point wasn't that, oh, it's women this time. Now, like I said, I've said in the past, I only have internet. I don't have cable. I don't see a lot of ads. So maybe the marketing did something different with that. But to me, it was like, look, it's a heist movie with 8 women. We've had 3 movies with a 90% male cast. It was fine. It was a fun heist flick. I don't see the issue with more representation. Now, apparently some people do. But the thing that I didn't like that happened around the time of Captain Marvel was Rotten Tomatoes, in a right way, tried to curb the review bombings before the flick even happened. Captain Marvel just seemed to be this huge thing of controversy, and it just couldn't be a movie. And the movie was what it was. But it got targeted well before, either praised, we have to make this movie amazing, we have to make it the biggest thing, we have to do this, or what seemed to be more like, we have to bomb this movie, we need to make sure it goes down, and we send a message, and all that, and that's dumb. I just don't get that logic. Let the movie come out, hopefully it'll be a great one. Yeah, and so I get why Rotten Tomatoes did that thing with the audience scores, because people were deliberately trying to make the flick, bomb. which is just dumb to me. If you don't like something, don't watch it. It makes no sense to me, and it's been that way for a while. Where for the most part, if you're against something, like, and you publicly protest it or publicly try to start a campaign against it, you're drawing more eyes to it. I remember with the Kevin Smith flick Dogma, at the time, like, the Catholic Church was hardcore out against it, and it seemed to draw more eyes to it. Or the Golden Compass, which has a very anti-Christian, anti-Catholic message intentionally. I can't speak to the film, but the author in his books, that was a deliberate thing. But so many people protested it that's how I heard about it. I would have never heard about it if I didn't see anything on the local news being like, we have to stop this. This is egregious. We have to do this. Now, I've got no problem people protesting. You have the right to protest. Please do. But at the same point, sometimes how you protest or how much of a fervor you stir up, you're not necessarily putting eyes on your side. You're just putting eyes on the product. You're making people wonder, like, what is the hubbubaloo, for a term that I think I've never used. Like, what's all the ruckus? Like, I'm curious now. Yeah, I just don't get that mentality. If I don't want to see something, I don't watch it. If people ask, I'll be like, here's X, Y, and Z, or I'll talk about it on the podcast, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go to a theater and be like, you shouldn't play this, or yell at people for going to see a flick, or yell at people online. Like, civil discourse should be a thing. I disagree with this for X, Y, and Z. But, back to the topic, because, see, I ramble. Rotten Tomatoes doing that to curb the attempted review bombings made sense. YouTube did something with their algorithm, and this is something I don't like. I get the logic behind it, but I don't like the outcome. They, around the release date of Captain Marvel, they redid their algorithm, so when you search Captain Marvel, you wouldn't just come up with a bunch of negative videos against the movie. Instead, it would just point to positive stuff. Now, I get the logic, because you're not trying to like YouTube as a company, probably not trying to negatively influence anything. But the issue I have with that is it takes people's voice away. Now, YouTube, unlike society at large, is it's not a government-run thing. CEOs run it. It's you sign up. When you sign up to the company. They do have a right to be like, look, we disagree with these views and we're not going to promote them. And that's fine. It's just still something I don't like. I'm new to YouTube in a sense of actually putting stuff on here. Now, my channel's crazy small. Dear listeners, you are awesome in listening to the podcast, which is great. It's not translating to viewers, and that's okay. I am in no way complaining. But it's tricky, and it's weird to me, because I don't like the idea of doing something which silences someone else, even if that's someone I disagree with. Now, if it's people publicly being, in their videos or whatever, being like, we should, like, encouraging and actively endorsing violence towards people, then yes, then that I don't, if I was running YouTube, I'd be like, nope, that's not up. But if it's, or a comment on my videos, which never get any comments, unless it's the Mighty Ducks one I posted years ago. But if it's a video just being like, I don't like this for X, Y, and Z, and then it could be someone coming from an agenda. It could be someone coming from a different understanding, or not. I like the idea of there being the balance on YouTube, because even though it is a private place, it is something people go to for a lot of public information. Heck, YouTube is a place that you can get Young Turks or Rebel Media, not endorsing either one of those, but you get what I mean. You can get a lot of views from one side or another here. It's still it's a public place. So I don't like the idea of doing algorithms that really can like silence one side and only paint one picture. Captain Marvel was what it was. There are people who loved the movie, and that's awesome. I wasn't one of them. I don't think that me or anyone saying I don't like this should be grouped in with the extreme people being like, we should kill this movie or violently attack Brie Larson or Marvel, which is a horrendous idea, and violence against anything like that is stupid and should be blocked. I'm going on a rant. I hope I'm making sense. If I could just encourage, it's like, listener, viewer, and other people who review movies and talk about nerd stuff, like, let's do it well. If it makes you upset, acknowledge that it makes you upset. Own it. Talk about why it makes you upset. But we shouldn't get to the place where we're like, let's ruin something. We can say, like, we think this ruins something, but let's not try to target people, target individuals. Doxing and anything is just ridiculous and dumb. So let's get better. I hope that part made sense. So kind of back to the larger topic. I want more female-led stuff. Now, that's not to say I want less male-led stuff, because a lot of my favorite characters just happen to be male. But there's a lot of great female-led stuff, or potential for great female-led stuff. My one request, as with anything, is do it well. For example, the most recent Star Wars trilogy has not been that great. Now, that's through no fault of the actors and actresses. A lot of people have issues with Rey. I'm one of them. I like the character on paper, and I love Daisy Ridley. I love her performer. She's great in the role. She looks awesome on the screen. But I just find the writing underserves her, and so many people, myself included, would enjoy her more if there was just more written about her and more written for her, and things didn't come as easy to her as they do, where it's just like, okay, she's just amazing at everything through not showing much struggle. I'd love to see that struggle. That's a case that happens in comics and movies, and it happens with male characters as well, and I like it less. But as there's now a good deliberate push to try to have more female-led characters, which again is inherently not wrong. Trying to have more female-led movies is a great thing. But I'd say as everybody's in this roar of like getting to the point where it's like, well, female movies are bad and we have to bomb them, and that, which is again stupid. Like, let's make sure let's make them good. I want good movies. I want more movies with female characters, so I want the ones coming out to be good. I'd love to see a Silk series. I know Steve disagrees, but we talked about that on the recent episode that we did together. Where we were looking at upcoming comic movies and stuff. Or Spider-Gwen, or the spin-off of Into the Spider-Verse that is going to be all female. Or if you ever did like a female Avengers, A-Force, it's a comic, I haven't read it, but I've heard good things. Like, if you want to do more of that, then let's do it well. Because if you do it well, if you write the characters well, then you're, one, going to see the vocal minority is more just against this than... because it's female-led, than actual legit criticisms. Unfortunately, a lot of pockets of the internet, man, I can't speak, get grouped in together, where anybody who has legit criticisms against Rey, for example, from the sequel trilogy, gets grouped in with the vocal minority who is just like women bad, which is bogus. It's not true. Like, you can have legit criticisms against Rey, against Rose, against Holdo. All three characters not well written, who could have been used substantially better. No problem with the actresses. It's just the writing of those characters in those movies was not as good. They should, like, anybody who holds that position should not be grouped in with the person over here. Just like anybody who holds the position, I'm not going to give any examples, I'm too tired, but you guys get what I mean. If you do it well, where, hey, if you see the writing for Rey or Captain Marvel or Ocean's 8 or whoever is really, really solid, and they are well developed, and you can't just, you don't give room for criticism, which in cinema and writing there almost always will be, but again, you get what I mean, then that minority is going to be a lot smaller, and then people are going to be like, no, we can just ignore you because you are clearly just trolling. I do believe if you do a good movie, a well-written movie with well-written characters, with journeys, for the most part, this will get people in. If a movie's bad or suffers from a number of things, including terrible writing, underdeveloped characters, like, that flick will sink. It will bomb. There are a couple exceptions, but word of mouth will affect those movies. So I hope that makes sense. I know I'm circling, so I'm going to move on. But yeah, I'd like to see more female-led movies. I just want them to be good. Just like I want every movie coming out based on stuff that I enjoy to be good. Men or women. But yeah. So the next thing, we're going to go into another section. So there's a couple things that are going on that I want to talk to you guys about, which I'm excited about. So a couple weeks ago I mentioned, like, hey, part of the reason that we're slowing down is I'm going to be part of a new podcast. So at my work, we are actually doing a podcast, which is exciting and fun. But part of it is we're also teaching kids how to do podcasts. When we mentioned it, that we were thinking of it, a bunch of the youth were like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then when we asked, like, would you like to learn how to do this? Because it is relatively easy to do this for free, or close to free. They were even more interested. So that's exciting for me. I love this medium. It's a lot of fun, but also I enjoy editing, weird as it is. At times it drives me nuts, but it's fun to do. So actually getting to do this with the youth is kind of cool and fun. The other thing that I'm crazy excited about at work is at the end of April, so the last week of April / first week of May, because it's one of those weeks, from the 29th to May 3rd, at my work, we are doing our Comic-Con event, which I'm so excited for. Me and my buddy Kyle, who runs the morning program, we've been working crazy hard for it. We got funding from some wonderful people at work to, on the Tuesday night, take 20 to 30 youth who are low income or homeless to go see Avengers Endgame, which is crazy exciting. What I love with that is, one, we're getting to go see the movie, which the youth have asked for, which is awesome. But two, my line of work, which is wonderful and needed, so much of the time we're giving youth what, like, low income or homeless youth, what they need. And we need to do that. That's an absolute necessity. If it was only ever once, then I'd have a problem with that. But so much of the times we're giving the needs, and we get stuff for the needs, which is, again, wonderful and no way complaining. But a desire we've had recently is to try to get some stuff where we can give them some wants. So it's not just the needs. It's, again, a nice distraction from their situation, to provide them with something where it's like, hey, you know what? I didn't need that, but that's kind of cool. I wouldn't have gotten that because of X, Y, and Z. So being able to take them to a movie is going to be awesome. That week we've got some great events lined up, which I'm so excited for. We're trying to get some good prizes. So I'm going to ask, dear listener, if you know any place, be it online or even if you're local in Toronto or Hamilton, especially if there's shipping that could be done to Hamilton, that's good for donations for anything geeky, like anything geeky, be it clothes or toques or Funko Pops or comics, games, what have you. Anywhere that is good for donations for that, please email us. Or if you'd like to financially contribute to that, not asking, just saying, if you're feeling led or you're feeling like it, please email me and we can work something out. You can email us at 2099 One Cross Street, ST for the street, at gmail.com. So it's 3 S's, so it's, I'll repeat it again just because that's who I am. 2099 ONECROSSST. The 3 S's throw me off. At gmail.com. Yeah, if you know any place, let us know in the comments. Drop us an email. That would be wonderful. Thank you, guys. What else? So the next couple things are, I've actually got some prayer requests, if that's okay. So the big one is Comic-Con coming up at work, which is, again, very excited, but there's a lot of work to get done. So if you could pray for energy, for myself, for Kyle, for the whole breakfast, evening, and weekend team, and the team at The Rock, that would be wonderful. I also ask for a prayer for general health, for myself, and I guess and the team at work. But for me, it's like, if you've been hearing, my voice is a little thrown off. You've heard me sniffle a couple times. I'm fighting a cold. I've been fighting it for a while. I just get sick really easily, and I can't miss any time. So please keep me in your prayers for general health. And if you have any prayer requests, drop them in the comments, drop an email. I'm happy to pray for you, please. And then also a couple friends. I've got some friends who are pregnant. So please pray for safe deliveries and safe terms and all that everything goes smoothly, and that God will be with the husbands, with the wives as this is going on. Please pray for that, because even though Jill and I have never been pregnant, I've had many friends and loved ones who have been, and it's scary and there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you can, please keep them in your prayers. And also please pray for a friend of mine who is lately, over the past couple months or years or so, he has developed a lot of anxiety, which is really throwing him off and messing with him, as it does, because anxiety sucks and depression sucks, and God allows us to go through it, in no way questioning that, and it is manageable through him, but it messes with you. It's not fun. As I shared before, without going into any details, back in November and through January, both of those things were flaring up hardcore for me, so I was really wanting to slow down on stuff, and the website took a hit because of it, which even still now it's still there, just less for me. So keep him in your prayers, especially as you work with people. It can mess with you. So please pray for this person. I'm not naming names, but keep them in your prayers and ask the Lord to be with them. Yeah. So the final thing, this is going to be a shorter episode because I'm really trying not to ramble, is I've got a couple plugs. And I know I plugged Redeem Otaku at the top, but that was a special shout out. But I also did plug Cardboard Cornelia, Love Thy Nerd, and Faith and Fandom. So reiterating those four again. So the other couple things I wanted to plug, and I'm going to quickly show you because I like the show and tell aspect, it helps keep me focused, is our dear friend Pastor Hector Mire, who is currently writing Faith and Fandom Volume 6, which I'm so excited for, had another book, which I really encourage you to check out, whether you're in ministry or not, but especially if you're in ministry, this will connect. It's called 10 Things I Learned from Stucking at Student Ministry. It is a fantastic short book. As I was reading it, it was reminding me so much of some just experiences I've had in the past working at a church, working in ministry, even working in social work. But there were certain things that were just making me like legit guffaw and fall over laughing on the bus, and also just making you sit and be like, man, I done goofed in that good way, in that little poking way. Praise God for this. I say praise God for this book and books like it, because it can show you what certain things to avoid, or even make you remember certain things and remind you like to put more of the focus on the Lord instead of on yourself within your ministry, whatever that ministry may be. So it's a really good book. You can find it on Amazon.ca, Amazon.com. Good price, great book. If you can, you should check it out. In terms of comics, there's a couple I'm going to share. Oh, this wasn't planned, but my Dash Rendar from Shadows of the Empire action figure just fell over. I got that from a local store a couple months ago, or almost 6 months ago at this point. Time is weird. And I don't regret it at all, because that Dash was one of the few toys I didn't get as a kid from Shadows. Anyway, just wanted to do a couple comics plugs. I haven't been as up to date with comics recently, which sucks in some ways. Again, not complaining, just time. But one of the ones I would recommend is this run on Darth Vader. Now, this is volume 4 from the... sorry, I'm just trying to read the author's name correctly. From Charles Soule and Giuseppe Camuncoli. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. This is the second solo Darth Vader run from Marvel's Star Wars comics. The first run was amazing. So when I heard about the second run, I was really curious as to how it was going to turn out. Because the first one took place 5 minutes after A New Hope, and probably ended like a week or two before Empire Strikes Back, so it was a nice tight time period. This one takes place like 5 minutes after Revenge of the Sith and picks up from there. So it's redone some stuff from the EU in the new continuity, but it's really great. It's the writing's strong. Vader's awesome. If I haven't read many of the other Star Wars comics, so this one I would definitely recommend. The other one I can plug by showing is Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon. IDW, sorry, not IDW. Wow, no, I was thinking Ninja Turtles there. Boom Studios Power Rangers has been an excellent run. Now, I haven't read since the Shattered Grid event, so I'm not up to date. I read up to the end of that, and then I haven't been able to pick it back up. Not because it's bad or anything, just, again, time. But it's been a great run. Kyle Higgins, who did that run, really made Rangers awesome and acceptable, be it for lifelong fans or people who haven't seen it since they were a kid, or anybody. It's accessible. And the great thing is, that run pulled in everything Power Rangers. So even though it was mostly focused on the Mighty Morphin team, you got great glimpses of Zeo, Turbo, RPM, which is like my second favorite team, Jungle Fury, like everybody, even not RPM, RPM rocks, Overdrive, Samurai, Megaforce, which is next to nobody's favorite. Sorry, Megaforce. It embraced all things Ranger, especially in that Shattered Grid event, and updated it and made it still campy but serious, and the world worked. Higgins has left the title at the end of Shattered Grid, and then I don't know if it was intentional as the swan song, but at the end he did Soul of the Dragon, which is a Old Man Logan style story, but based on Tommy, and it takes place after Dino Thunder, and it just shows Tommy being older, trying to get used to not being a ranger, but it shows the Master Morpher, which we got in the Dimensions in Danger 25th anniversary episode of Dino Charge. I think, is it Dino Charge, the current one? Or now... No, because now it's Beast Morphers. But the most recent series that had the anniversary episode, it showed the Master Morpher. It does show him morphing into all the different Rangers. And it includes a lot of other Ranger stuff, especially SPD. It's a really good book. Definitely check that out. Again, whether you're a huge Power Rangers fan or a novice, the writing's solid, the story's good, and that whole Boom Studios run on Power Rangers has been excellent. You can definitely pick it up. Yeah, I think that's about it for comic plugs and books. The other thing I would mention is, of course, Jesus. I always want to plug Jesus. The Lord is why I do this. Ultimately, out of every episode, I'm hoping and praying that the Lord is being pointed to. I would not be who I am without Jesus Christ. I would not be saved. I would not be here. I wouldn't even be alive, to be frank. So, dear listener, I do hope and pray that you hear the Lord through these podcasts. And if you are a Christian, I hope that it's helping you grow in some aspects, even when we just talk about comic books. And dear listener, if you're not a Christian, I do pray that you will seriously consider seeking out someone you can ask questions to, and that you will find the Lord, or that the Lord will find you. Yeah, God is amazing. Seriously, God is wonderful. So, on that note, which is just kind of abrupt, but that's the episode. So, dear listener, thank you for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let me know in the comments again. And emails if you have any prayer requests, if you know any places for the stuff for Comic-Con, and let me know what you think of this episode and the solo format. Is there ways I can improve it? If it's something you're digging, I'm genuinely curious. All that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless, my friends. Take care. Peace.